Oh my goodness gracious, is this thing on? We are definitely in the middle of the witching hour, almost halfway through it. It is 3:24 a.m. Eastern time, at least where I'm at, but I don't know what time it is if you're watching live or whether you might be watching later, which is probably what the case is because of how late we are getting to this. But with this being said, this is bonus episode, brews and reviews. I wanted to cover all the music that came out in July because I know I've been missing out on it, and there's a lot of things I wanted to cover and a lot of takes I got stored up in this big old noggin of mine. And I thought of something on the fly, and somebody wanted to pull up a chair and join me in these wee hours of the Vampire AM. So to join El Tucker Tente, the ultimate sensei, El Tucker Tente, your captain speaking. Of course, the creme de la creme, the one that they do in fact call him you know who, young Dumbledore, the lyrical wizard. But you know what? We'll get the rest, and we'll save the rest for Sunday. So with that being said, pulling up a chair on this bonus episode of Brews and Reviews. Thank you to El Padrino for joining us.
Thank you.
Remember, it's the wee hours of the AM. We can't get way too crazy loud. But just to make sure and confirm, is this thing on? I do believe it is. So thank you all, Padrino, for joining us. I got a couple things I just wanted to, go over, and, I wanted to make sure that I didn't let fall to the wayside because we got so much music coming out all the time. But not only did one of my favorite albums of the whole year come out this month, but there was also another album that came out that I feel like I might have a hot take, tucker take for, so to speak. But just before we get into that, though, I did just want to say thank you again for joining me in the wee hours of the AM. Thank you for being down for the idea.
You're very welcome.
Thank you for joining the Pull Up a Chair, the bonus episode crew for this episode of Brews and Reviews. We do appreciate it. Something that I wanted to ask you then coming right in. Well, not really ask you, but just something I kind of wanted to just throw out is, I feel like there's nobody that we could ever have on this show, no matter who, that could have better accolades of concerts attended and acts that you have seen perform live. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. It's literally phenomenal. Led Zeppelin, The Who, Elvis Presley. I mean, you want to finish this for me as I light my cigarette? As I light my cigarette, Clinton.
I was blessed to come up in it. I mean, as a child in the '60s, and a teenager in the '70s, so that's the golden era of all that music. I mean, plus coming from a family, my mother was musical. She was a classically trained operatic singer, and she exposed me to all kinds of music from the time as far back as I can remember. It was hearing Elvis Presley that just started it, really kicked it all off for me.
And you've seen him how much?
Yeah, I got to see Elvis 3 times. Once in 1969, once in '72, and once in '75.
Goodness gracious, great balls of fire.
And to people that just see him in movies and on TV, it doesn't do justice to the impact when that man walked out on the stage. It's just never seen anything like it to this day.
I'm glad that we brought this up because now people will finally understand why there's 2 Elvis portraits on opposite ends of this secret door behind.
Oh yeah, there's other Elvis stuff here that you can't see it.
Which what people think is behind this door is hilarious.
What do they think behind there?
I can't ever tell them. Oh. I can't ever tell them. It's a myth. We got to keep that a myth. If we say it, we ruin it. So we got to keep it a myth. But one of the other things I wanted to mention, though, before we dive into it, because, of course, we will be talking about the 2024 XXL Freshman list and the Cyphers. We will be talking about the new music that came out this month, mainly hip-hop. We'll be going over the whole July playlist that I made, though. Thank you to everybody who checked that out. It is out now on Apple Music and Spotify. Secure bags and bump gems with your good old friend, El Tucker. And something I wanted to say, though, with that is that since day one, El Padrino has showed that when it comes to an open ear, and I think I maybe took this from him and learned from him, there's never a song that you'll refuse to listen to.
That's true.
Fair? True. It's always, something new. Well, let's check it out. Let's see how it sounds. And ever since day one, it was, hey, I know you might not like it, but let me show you this. And I'll never forget, I think my first proud moment as a son that got to put him on to some good old hip-hop was actually pretty early on. And we were on way to, as many of you heard me talk about, I did attend Catholic school. As we were on way to there one time, I believe it was about 4th grade, And we were on the way to there, and I had the Get Rich or Die Trying CD in the car. And, of course, I had to listen to it on the way to school to even get through that day. And when he ended up picking me up after school, I noticed that this one time, he never took the CD out. And when I asked him about it, he was like, yeah, I actually kind of like this. I remember it was the first time I was like, whoa. I was like, did I put him onto something? I never put him onto something before. So I was like, whoa, did I figure something out? And then let me flash forward to right now, which is what I'm getting to. Anybody that will say, oh, I'm not going to trust any of his takes, I'm going to say that's bullshit. And here's why. Not only has he watched all these award shows with me, listened to a ton of this music with me, but he's been able to be a damn good judge of what's good or what's not. And yeah, sometimes is he maybe not as up to hip and date as some of us might be? Sure. But does he know what here is what's good and what's not? Absolutely. And I can stand by that, and I'll put my cosign on that before we go into tonight. So with that being said, I was going to start tonight off by talking about the Not Like Us video and Drake at the Michael Rubin party and then Big Sean dissing Kendrick and just all this hoorah that went on in the month of July, and it's been going on now for a while. But you know what? It's Mr. Keep the Love High and the hate low. I don't want to talk about any of that. I don't like talking about negativity. At the end of the day, everybody's good. Everybody's healthy. Hopefully nobody's harming anybody. I think hopefully we can move on from this beat and love it. Hopefully everybody involved. You can pick a side if you choose, but just don't make it and choose it negatively and harm them. Just don't do that. But, you know, with that being said, I think we should just put that aside and get right to the reviews where we talk positive about things that we like, and we share our reviews on the XXL Freshman list. How do you feel about that, El Padrino?
That sounds fine.
Let's dive right into it then. So, before we dive into the July playlist, before we dive into that, which is my favorite knockers from the month of July, my favorite jams from my Sleepless Familia friends, the two albums that stood out the most to me in July that I feel like need to be talked about the most is Bando Stone, and you know it's one of my favorite albums of the year, and this shows you how bad I am with names. I need to make sure I know it. So that shows you how terrible I am with names. I get so bad, I hear too much, and then I'm like, fuck. The hell do you call this shit? I'm way past 10 seconds, so I can say the F-bomb. Oh, Bando, I had it. Bando Stone in the New World, which was Childish Gambino's last album under the moniker as Childish Gambino. He's officially retiring Childish Gambino. And then the other album that I wanted to also talk about and kind of compare the two is Eminem, The Death of Slim Shady, which I just watched the Face Off with El Padrino finally, with him on Complex doing the Face Off, promoting the album and kind of showing the duality and the comparisons and the contrast of the two characters between Marshall Mathers and Slim Shady. And I feel like why I wanted to compare the two is because you kind of got the similar thing going on with Childish Gambino and Donald Glover. It's just two way different artistically lanes. And I feel like there's a lot to kind of compare there. However, I wanted to start this off with, let's get the clickbait out of the way now. I think Bando Stone in the New World is better than the Death of Slim Shady. Okay. I think it's a better album. I think it holds more replay value. I think there's more to dissect from it. And I think there's more to actually sit with overall with that album as compared to the Eminem album. Am I hating on the Eminem album? No. I actually think it was my favorite album from his since MMLP 2. However, the artistry of Gambino and him ending on that note and him knowing when to kind of call it a day on that like character and really go by like him and like he said in the interview. I watched him with Zane Lowe. So to reference an interview that he did on Zane Lowe, shout out Apple Music. Zane Lowe's a great interviewer. One of the questions that Gambino ended up answering was like, all right, well, like, where do you plan on going from here? Like, does this mean no music? And he was like, no, but he's like, if I go by Childish Gambino, he goes, it makes me feel like I go by that 25-year-old guy again. Like, you know, I'm going on 40 now. I'm not that guy. And I think that's something to be very respectable. I think how he, like, was super honest about how he came up with the album, how he has his own son on it. I thought was cool. Thought that was really cool. As far as Gambino's album go, I mean, let's just run that sucker top to bottom real quick. Good God. You got, all right, right off rip, you got Lithonia, which was the lead single. Absolutely incredible. Then you got Survive featuring Chloe. Amazing. I mean, all these records are amazing. But, I mean, come on. Even his features were crazy. In the Night, Georgia Smith. You got Yoshinoya, which I know some people said was a sneak diss to Drake, but we're not going to dive in there. Can You Feel Me? That was featuring his kid, Legend. Cruisin' featuring Yeet. That's the best I've ever heard Yeet sound. As you guys know, I'm not a Yeet guy. I mean, I Yeet when it's Jey Uso, but when it's the rapper Yeet, nah, that's not usually my steez. That's not my thing. But Cruisin', I mean, Yeet's part is incredible. I mean, what an insane bridge between the second and the third verse. I mean, come on, that was absolutely nutty. That was nutty with the bars. That's a payday. I mean, good God, Dadvocate was insane. Ending it on A Place Where Love Goes. I mean, come on. No Excuses, crazy. Got to Be Nuts. Flo Milli on Talk My Shit, crazy. The only bar that I didn't like was when Gambino said, "I be on the beach with my titty out." I didn't like that. I thought that was a little like, okay, we didn't need that.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah, that bar was like, okay, I could have done without that. But as you know, El Padrino, this is where feel free to chime in like you're outside of a pair of curtains. But on a front porch. But that's a chime reference, okay? I could also reference a bank right there. That's a double entendre, triple entendre when it comes to Chime, but we're not here to be sponsored by Chime. Hopefully, maybe soon we can be sponsored by Chime, but it hasn't happened yet. But back to what I was saying. So as you know, I've been a huge Childish Gambino / Donald Glover fan for years. You watched the whole Atlanta show with me. You watched all the seasons.
I thought that was good.
You've also listened to, obviously, all that music along the way with me that I played for you. So my question now is for you. What do you think, as you like that Cigarette Clinton? What do you think of Childish Gambino, Donald Glover's music? And what do you think of him calling it quits on Childish Gambino? I mean, to me, it's like bittersweet because, like, I see why he's doing it. But, like, before I pass you the torch, like, I see why he's doing it. It's just like, man, you know, like, you're killing a part of my nostalgia, my high school. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, I grew up with him. Like, even though I knew he branched off to movies, like, at the end of the day, I always knew he was going to be music first and foremost. Kind of like how I feel about with rock. Like, no matter how many movies you do, you're still the people's champ to me. You know, like.
Yeah. Well, he became pretty popular on that Atlanta thing, and probably trying to.
I mean, he won Emmys for that.
Set the difference between being a actor and being a performer, music performer.
I mean, in his defense, he said, "I'm doing one last tour for now. I don't know when the next one's going to be, but I'm doing one last tour for now." And he said, "I'm going to put on the best fucking show you can ever possibly see." And I know he's going to do that. I know he's going to do his best to deliver that. Which, I mean, you know, that shows my Gambino fandom. I mean, I have the Awaken My Love vinyl. It's one of the under 10 vinyls I have. It means that much to me. I mean, his artistry and his penman, like just the way he is so articulate with the way he can pinpoint a story. I mean, there isn't an album where you can tell me a record on it and I'd say that's a miss. I mean, you just can't. I mean, from Camp to Because the Internet to, God, I botch names all the time. But that one with had a Jaden on it, had a nice bright yellow cover, sun in the background, that sucker. Then you had even the one that he just came out with, Algorithm, that had Littlefoot Bigfoot. Then you got the newest one as well. I mean, absolutely incredible. Absolutely love Bando Stone in the New World. That's a highly, highly recommendation. That's one of my albums of the year. I put that right up there with Please Don't Cry. I put that right up there with Blue Lips. However, though, that does lead us into the next album we got to talk about. The death of Slim Shady. So, from what have you heard? What do you think about it?
What I've heard of it, I like.
I mean, you've grown up listening. I've grown up with you listening to Eminem with me.
Yeah, I've listened to him pretty much from the beginning with Ruth, and
Watch that. Switch that L with a T.
I think it was two.
You're good. It's your debut. You can get away with it.
I've always liked them. I always did like them.
What was some of your favorite work from him before we dive into the
Well, my favorite work is easy to say from the 8 Mile movie.
I knew he was going to say that. That 8 Mile movie you took to immediately. I mean, you took to that immediately. To show you how much he took to that, he bought that on his own, and he surprised me with it. But I knew at the same time that El Padrino fucked with it with me. Because I remember we watched that. Oh, here we go. We watched that at your plant. We can say that now you're retired. Is there any... There's no way you can get screwed on that, right?
No way.
Yeah, cool. So we watched that at his plant. And I remember I had already seen it, but I was like, no, we got to rent this. And we got to watch this because you haven't seen it yet. And when he watched it, he already listened to Eminem a little bit. But once the moment he's seen this, it was like, whoa. Like, you got to realize, like, wow, this dude actually went through some shit. Like, I mean, what was your take the first time you seen 8 Mile?
Yeah, I mean, I knew he grew up.
Feel free to talk loud.
I knew he came up in a rough way, but ironically, some of the greatest people that have emerged in music ever came from extreme poverty.
Well, you always appreciated those scenes where he was battle rapping.
Yeah, that always amazes me.
Where they put him on the spot.
It amazes me that somebody can off the top of their head do that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Even though writing's more my forte, I still do appreciate that. I feel like I got a secondhand compliment in there, so I'll take it. You know me, I just need to feed the ego any way I can. But overall, though, that Death of Slim Shady album, let me pull that track list up. Off the top of my head, I really love Fuel. I thought the way him and JID went back and forth, I love JID. I consider him the flow god. I know I call him JID. Some people call him Jid. Either way, it's the flow god from Dreamville, and he's absolutely incredible. Him and Eminem going back and forth. Gordon Ramsay, Chef's Kiss. I thought Brand New Dance was great, even though it was supposed to be on Encore. I thought that was great that they refurbished it and put it back out. I'm not going to lie, Toby grew on me. Tobey Maguire was bit by a spider, but I was bit by a goat. But I think I botched that, but either way. You know what I was saying. That Toby record, though, I thought was kind of solid. It kind of grew on me. It was oddly catchy. I thought Houdini was a great single. Habits with White Gold, thought that was really good. Renaissance as the intro, I thought was really solid. Even the Jelly Roll sample, I thought was pretty good. He kind of lost me on the Skylar Ray thing, but he made up for it because I thought Guilty Conscience 2 was actually pretty good. Overall, though, you know what, Eminem? I thought you told a great story. Granted, I know some people have debated, like, oh, he's already kind of told this story before. But really, this kind of seemed like a fresh take on it. He did a unique spin. People over-critique him. Like, because I feel like I almost fell into that trap where, like, I'm getting ready to over-critique him. And it's like, some people they want him to sound like Slim Shady. Oh, they want him to sound like the Lyrical Miracle. But then when he does either of those things, there's always a bunch of people that come out and are like, yeah, no, we actually secretly don't really want to hear that, and just make a whole fucking outburst over it. And it seems to be like people just want to hate for no reason. So at the end of the day, I put my stamp on it. I think it's a good album. I think you guys should definitely check it out. I think it's his best work in years. I think he told a great story on it. Obviously, the marketing and the rollout behind it's been pretty solid. I mean, I could sit here and dissect it and pick apart everything with the best of them, but why go into it like that? I mean, the records are solid. Replay value, like I said, not as much to me as the new Gambino. That's to me. That's probably a hot take. I totally understand that. We go by different tastes, and that's okay. Because we all meet up in the same place, and that's we both celebrate this great music, and no matter who we think was better, both albums were good. They were, no matter what anybody says, I think we can both agree that both albums were good. And at the end of the day, it's all love on both sides. With that being said, though, now we got to dive into something. Oh, let me read through my July playlist, and then we'll get to the XXL Freshman. I'll stop on a couple records. To start it off, NPO, 42 Doug featuring Sexy Red. 42 Doug, Catch One. Zach Bryan, Lucky Enough, Poem. Zach Bryan, American Nights. MGK, El Pistorero. Kid Cudi, Dreams I See. Another one of my favorite albums of the month. As DJ Khaled would say, another one. One of my other favorite albums of the month was Dr. Baklava, a.k.a. Action Bronson, dropped. And two of my favorite records on there were Hogan, featuring Mayhem Loren and Shadow Realm. Then you got J Ski Situated and J Ski Sarah Lee. Then you got Eminem, Brand New Dance, Fuel, Toby. Then you got Zachary from TDE, which I love very much, who dropped one of my favorite R&B records of the year, which is Give You Up. Then we got Lone Wolf Still. Then, of course, we got Bando Stone in the New World. I added Lithonia, Survive, Yoshinoya, Can You Feel Me, and Cruising. Then, to my shake and bake brother, I know he'll be proud, Koozie, when you're watching this. Denzel Curry and That Mexican OT, Black Flag Freestyle. Then we got Denzel Curry, Ty Dolla $ign, and Juicy J. Cole Pimp. Denzel Curry and Ski Mask Sump God, Hit Floor. Rich the Kid and Chief Keef, Louis Coat. Luke Combs, Ain't No Love in Oklahoma off the Twister soundtrack, along with Dead End Road, Jelly Roll, Leave the Light On, Jelly Roll. Then we got Back to the Blast new album with Anderson .Paak, Dance with the Devil, Blast and Ty Dolla $ign, I Need Your Love. Then we got a single, Rob 49 and Cardi B, On That Money. Then we got Four Bats and Usher, Act 4, Fucking You Again, 18 Plus. Then we got Benny the Butcher and Black Soprano Family, BSF, Summer 24. Then we got Post Malone, Guy for That, featuring Luke Combs. Then MGK, Lonely Road with Jelly Roll. Then we got West Side Story, Elijah Blake, Bitch I'm Packing, Ice Spice and Gunna. BB Bell, Ice Spice, Pressured Up, Vince Staples and Schoolboy Q. DJ Mustard's album, A Song for Mom with T.Y. Dollar $ign. Ty Dolla $ign, Jesus Christ. Then I was moving too quick. I'm sorry, I'm moving fast. Then we got Ghetto with Young Thug and Roddy Ricch. Then we got Gwen Stefani and Anderson .Paak, Hello World. Body Bangin', Skilla Baby off the XXL Freshman list. Crash featuring Jeremiah. Gordo and Drake, Sideways and Healing. John Wayne, Metro Boomin and Young Nudie. And then last but not least, Love Is the Message, Rakim, R.I.P. Nipsey Hussle, The Marathon Continues, and Project Pay. So, wow. Go check that out.
That's a lot.
Yep, on Spotify, on Apple Music. I botched a couple, but hey, we do this thing live, and I don't edit, and that is the beauty of it. But now, with that being said, there's one thing to close us out on, and that is we got to review and cover both of the XXL Freshman Cyphers and the XXL Freshman list. So since we just watched before going live, what did you take away from the Cyphers? For those that don't know, in one of the Cyphers, I believe we had Scar Zip or Scar Lip. I'm probably botching that one in two ways. I botch. That Mexican OT, I believe we had Killa Baby. Yes, we did. And we had, I can pull up the list, but I think I can pull them off the top of my head, at least for the other one. I know that we had Boss Man Delo. We had Maya the Don, which I thought she did incredible. I ended up following her. She was amazing. Let's go check this out. Make sure I know what I'm talking about. I don't want to botch anything further and make sure that I know what I'm talking about here. Cross my T's and dot my I's because it is I, Mr. El Tucker Tente, your captain motherfucking speaking. Check this out. Because I had the Cyphers I thought were great. Like, what stood out to me was Boss Man Delo and Mexican OT stuff.
Some of them really stood out that they were, pretty good.
Lay Banks. Lay Banks does great. Yeah, Cash Cobain. The beat was by Southside. You got That Mexican OT, Cash Cobain, Scar Zip, Skilla Baby, and Lay Banks. Out of that, I was really impressed by what Scar Zip did, but I thought the best out of that was That Mexican OT. Then I would probably say Skilla Baby, then Scar Zip, then Lay Banks, then Cash Cobain, because That's the one time I'm going to have to put my hater hat on. But now, say what you were going to say.
No, I mean, to me, obviously I never heard any of them before. Some of them stood out as being definitely better than some of the other ones. I mean, you can definitely tell the difference.
Well, you always go by your ear test. And you've heard enough of, hip hop by now, I feel like. And I know what your favorites are. Like, to know, like, what you think is good and what's not. And, like, granted, I know I'm a little bit more, like, I know what I'm looking for. I'm kind of examining it on each and every bar. But you're just really kind of like, does this sound good?
Yeah,
and I think that is that's why I thought about it. And I was like, you know what? You'd be perfect for this. I was like, you'd literally be perfect.
Does it grab me personally? Right. That's how I.
Yeah. I'm the one who overthinks it because that just happens naturally. Especially being an artist myself. That's one of the times where it comes into play. I really overthink it. You don't look at this as an overthinking process. But who was the one that stole the show for you out of that one? The first one that we watched with that Mexican OT, Skilla Baby.
That Mexican one.
The first guy that went. Yeah, he's really good. I mean, I feel like he's the one that, I'm glad that we're talking about it because I love talking about these freshman lists because I've been following it for so long since it was posted on Two Dope Boys and, like, oh my God, like who's going to make the list? And even I have a bar that mentions it. I said, fuck the freshman list. I want the Forbes list. But at the end of the day, I'd like being on the fucking freshman list too. But that's a lot of F words. Hold on there, dude. I don't want to get demonetized. But I don't want to miss out on my couple of dollars, dude. But overall, though, I mean, that Mexican OT, I think he's the most promising out of the class.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that.
Like, from everything, like the music, like from the music I've heard, like out of that whole freshman class, I have the most music added to my library from him. Like that last project he came out with that had Crooked Officer on it and Twisted Fingers with Moneybag. I mean, I even played one of those records during Sleepless Radio when I had Moneybag Yo. So, like, I mean, I love Mexican OT. I think he's going to become a big star. Reword that. Pump brakes, reword. I think he's going to become a big name. I think that's the name that we're not going to forget about, and he's not going to let us forget about him for quite some time. I think he raps really well. I think he's got a unique image, a unique character. For example, we actually watched the interviews where they did like this, listen to like what the fans say. And he stole the show on that. Is that fair to say? Yeah. I mean, he was funny, made jokes. People were saying what they thought he looked like, and then he cracked back. Super funny. Yeah, Mexican OT. You get the El Tugatente stamp and the El Padrino stamp, which is an exclusive because this is the first time he's ever pulled up to this. Thank you for pulling up a chair once again. This has been a lot of fun. The other thing, though, that I did want to say about that freestyle, two things that I want to say about that one before we end on the last freestyle, is I really liked Laid Bank's verse. I thought she did great. I've never really heard much from Scarzit before. Or Scarlip. It's one of the two. Whichever one, I'm really sorry. But I thought she did really good, though. Like, I haven't heard that before, but I thought she delivered great. I could tell she had that passion behind it, that, like, she really wanted to kind of make a name for herself, and I picked up on that energy quick. I thought that was absolutely incredible. I thought that was amazing. Definitely want to check out more of her music. Skilla Baby, I know he kind of played it cool. Thought he did really well on that. Rich Amiri skipped that, which good thing he did because he would have looked like a fool. The person, though, that I do got to put the hater hat on, though, for a second. I got to put the hater hat on. Remember, we got to draw views. We got to be exciting. I got to put the hater hat on every once in a while. All right, I'm going to do it. Hater hat initiated. No, we're on the live. Hey. Just wanted to say, so I got to put the hater hat on. That Cash Cobain verse, I mean, for those that have watched the XXL Freshman Freestyle, Cash Cobain, granted, I'm not hip to you. I've heard a couple of records. I might be hating right now, but I got the hater hat on, so I can do that. I'm entitled to. It's the friendly hater hat. What was that? It was like everybody did so good, and he went second to last. And then the moment he went, I mean, he fucking challenged it. He was like the challenger. It was like everything was going great, and then right when they were about to reach their peak, he blew up.
Okay.
I mean, that's the way I took it. Like everybody did so great, and then the fifth one was like, who went fifth? I think Lay Banks. Yeah, Lay Banks went fifth, and Lay Banks killed it. And thank God Lay Banks killed it because Cash Cobain literally tried to kill the whole thing. He sabotaged the vibe. Tell me he didn't. We watched it together.
Yeah.
Literally not even 45 minutes ago.
Yeah, he did. He kind of changed the whole.
What I say, I was like, when we were watching, I was like, he's not even on rhythm. He's not even on beat. Like, he's 6 yards behind the beat. He's 6 yards and 2 downs behind the beat with a flag on the play. Like, what are we talking about here? Cash Cobain. I'm going to take the hater hat off. I'm going to reserve that for a future episode to pull up the chair. But Cash Cobain, I did not fuck with what you did there, man. You got the worst Cypher verse of the weekend. Oh, it's off. Hater hat's off. Cash Cobain, you need to redeem yourself for me. But to move on and close out, last XXL Freshman freestyle that we have to talk about, which I actually thought was the best one, was Big X the Plug, Maya Dadan, and Boss Man to Love. What do you think of that? Before I give my take. That I thought was by far the best one.
They were pretty.
They all seemed in sync.
Yeah, they were all pretty good, and they did seem.
They all
on the same wavelength, so to speak.
Yeah, they all seemed to like really mesh. Like they all had 3 separate currents, but they all met to meet one great hurricane that didn't harm nobody. It was a positive hurricane. It was a hurricane of great sonic love. It was absolutely insane. But no, I got to big up Maya the Don. She got my follow. I got to check out more of her music. Big X the Plug, I'm very hip to. He's been killing shit for a while. However, though, he did have my 3rd favorite verse on that. It went Boss Man Low, then it went Maya the Don, and then it went name I just said. That shows you what we do here. It's The Sleepless Familiar. We're live in the middle of the night. It's a live program, live podcast. What do? We call live reviews and we shoot from the hip because that's all we know how to do. I don't edit either. So whatever's said, it's said. And when it's that time, I like to sleep with a happy head on the bed. I don't sweat it because I like to keep the love high and the hate low. And you know who it is. It's Mr. El Tucker Tente, the creme de la creme, the one that they do in fact call him. With that being said, I did just want to say thank you to everybody for being tuned in tonight once again. And everybody, of course, watching after because I don't expect anybody to be really tuning in live right now. I've seen people go in and out, and I appreciate it big time. But with that being said, we got a lot of things up right now. We got Pull Up a Chair, episode 86 out, Balling on a Dink Income with the great Scotty Two Stone. We also got, featuring Scotty Two Stone, Bumps and Bruises, SummerSlam predictions for this Saturday. I will be there. One Dead Man show as well as SummerSlam. If you see me, give me a holler. Holler if you hear me. Shout out to Scott Steiner. And we got new merch available now as well. We got When Vampires Go Surfing. Get those boards ready. There's plenty of room in the water. Come join us. They're warm. The water is warm or cold, depending on how you like it. And we got Sleepless Radio episode 204 coming this Sunday. Belly Talent versus Oliver Tree. Get those votes in right now on the polls. You know where to go. Thank you guys for being tuned in big time. Can't tell you how much I appreciate it. Let me know what you guys think about the new music that came out. And once again, we got the July playlist up on Spotify, up on my Apple Music as well. Go check that out. Let me know what your guys' favorite music was of the month. Let me know if I was right or wrong or what you guys think I say. Either way, we're going to keep the love high and the hate low. And before we close out, and before we say those words, I did just want to say, Padrino, is there anything you'd like to say? Because I know I did majority of the talking, but I did just want to say thank you once again for pulling up to Bumps and Bruises so I can kind of bounce a little bit off you. Or not Bumps and Bruises. Thank you for pulling up the Brews and Reviews. And thank you for sharing your reviews as well as allowing me to have some brews. But going in, closing out, anything you'd like to say, anything you'd like to talk about, anything you'd like to ask me, we got a little bit of time. We're not rushing. We shared the new music reviews. We shared our Cypher reviews. I planned on skipping the beef. I don't want to deal with any of it. I like being positive, keep the love high. But to close out, is there anything you'd like to ask me or talk about, El Padrino? Now is that time.
I'm thinking.
I roll out the black leather chip carpet. Hit me with anything.
No, you know what?
Joker in the street. Hit me.
No, what's really different to me is today's artists, no matter what genre of music they come from, you always know exactly what they look like and everything else. I grew up in an era, I didn't even know John Fogerty was white till I was about 12. I mean, you heard the music on the radio. There was no such thing as MTV or videos yet. So you had no idea what these people looked like.
See what you're getting into. Meaning back in the day, there was no Instagram. There was no Twitter. There was no way to Google what the guy looked like.
No.
You didn't know who he was until he was in a magazine or a newspaper.
Yeah, or on TV.
Or on the news.
Like, I love Creedence Clearwater Revival as a kid.
I love
CCR.
CCR.
I played them all the time. They were always on the radio. They had so many hits.
Now we're shooting. Now we're shooting.
Then I saw Creedence Clearwater I saw them on Ed Sullivan's show, doing Fortunate Son. And I thought,
some folks are mom.
I thought, oh my God. Oh my God, he's white. I couldn't believe he was white.
I mean, he does have that, like, I guess, kind of.
I would.
I don't ever see it like that because I've always known what he looks like, so I guess.
Yeah, you've always known what he looks like. Back, he had no idea. Had no idea what these people look like. He'd seen them on TV, or like he said in a magazine or something.
All right, let's shoot.
There's lots of differences like that.
Let's shoot.
Radio was everything when I was growing up. Absolutely everything.
I still think it could be something. Oh, wow. All right. Got a good question for you. What do you think it would take for radio, besides Sleepless Radio, of course, to shamelessly plug ourselves? What do you think it would take for radio to be really relevant now? What would it take?
That they need to stop. They need to stop this thing. If everything has to be concentrated on an initial format, it's got to be.
Play the hits.
It's got to be that. Yeah. Where
I agree.
Where back then, I grew up listening to
break a record.
I grew up listening to AM radio, CKLW. You could hear Johnny Cash. The next song could be Jimi Hendrix. The next song is Diana Ross, and so forth. Led Zeppelin. You just never knew. You got exposed to all this music as a whole.
Breaking a record. Going back to that, that's how you used to break a record.
Yeah, it is.
That's how do you get it over? Play it on the radio. People want to hear it. They buy it.
A hit single back then was more important than a hit album.
And it's crazy because that still applies. That formula still applies, but it doesn't always work. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Like Ice Spice can shake ass from now until the end of eternity, but it seems like her records don't really sell. Icicle Spice, I love you. You know I love you. Could watch you twerk for days, but the record sales don't apply. Because no matter how much she shakes her ass, the music isn't as good as that. But Icicle Spice, I love you. You deserve the Pulitzer. No, I do think though that with that, like with new music, like it's so hard to break it compared to how it used to be. Like you said, it was like you get over on the radio, which I do believe there's still a way to make that happen. That's why I love Sleepless Radio. I love that we get to do that. Billy Talent versus Oliver Tree Sunday. But no, it's definitely a different landscape now, man.
No, it totally is, yeah.
I mean, that's why you got to utilize the internet. Once again, I wink. Love you guys. But that's how you get over the persona. That's how you get over who you are. That's how you get over and convey and display to these people who you truly are. Then once they actually get to see you, they're like, oh, well, then they determine if that's fake or not. And I think it's pretty damn well for certain that when people see me talking crazy on the timeline, drinking, smoking, having a damn good time with y'all, talking music and movies and all that good shit, this ain't no gimmick. I really, this is my shit. But with that being said, we want to watch some stuff. We want to smoke another bleezy off camera. So with that being said, Padrino, is it safe to say this is the first of many times you'll join me on something like this?
I don't see why not.
He says, I don't see why not. Because we can end up talking music for hours. We can just keep this thing running live and just talk and jam how we normally do. However, that would get a copyright strike, so we actually technically can't do that. But with that being said, go check out the new Gambino album. That's a highly recommendation of mine, Bando Stone in the New World. Go check out the new Eminem album as well. Go check out my July Bob's playlist. So much new music came out in the month of July. And so much new music to look forward to, not only the rest of the year, but especially in the month of August. We got a ton of shit, coming out. And with that being said, it is Mr. Keep the Love High and the Hate Low. I already promoted myself and did that. I ain't going to give that rundown again. So with that being said, I'm going to save the rest of the intro for Sunday. And hey, if you see me Saturday out, I'll be in the land. I'll be outside. Give me a holler. Give me a yeah. Give me a El Tucker Tante. I'll give you a dap. Maybe get a brew with you. With that being said, keep the love high and the hate low. Lord willing, I'll see you guys on the flip. What do you got to say, El Padrino? Leave us with a motivational quote.
It's been a lot of fun doing this. I absolutely love doing Sleepless Radio. I think any of you that have ever tuned into that can tell that I do.
Let that be known. Go ahead. Put over Sleepless Radio. You're just as much of a part of it as me and Dooley. There'd never be a rock bracket if it wasn't for him. I'll never forget when he goes, we were down here smoking. We'll end on this. He goes, we were down here smoking. He goes, you ever thought about putting like, my classic rock guys against each other?
Like Beatles versus the Stones or something like that.
And then I looked at the wall and I said, what about Michael Jackson versus Elvis Presley? And then now we got a winner's bracket that's even deeper than the hip hop bracket.
It does make me happy to see that today's youth still has appreciation for all my music that I grew up with.
Well, because there's a lot of that music that you grew up with compared to our generation. And yes, I'm going to put our generation on blast. I'm going to stand by it. I'm going to be a spokesperson. Deal with it. I think there's a lot of music from your generation when you compare it to ours that your generation has a term that goes behind it that a lot of music from our generation, my generation, doesn't. Timeless.
That's why they call it classic rock.
A lot of the music this day, and especially in this day and age, is here today, gone tomorrow. Hope you remember it. Where we do got to get back to timeless. And that's why, like, when people ask me even, why do you take this long to put out? Because I wanted to just pump out bullshit after bullshit. Guess what? I write every day. I can do that. I have no fun in doing that. True artists have no fun in doing that. We're here to have fun with this shit, first and foremost. And second is to put out great art that we can stand by and sleep on, that we truly feel like should be and shall be appreciated. And that's what creates timeless music. You want to build a building. Anybody can build a motel that does good for 6 months. What you try to do is you try to build a hotel and you build it brick by brick and you build it by building timeless music by timeless music that people can go back to and they want to keep revisiting. And that goes with content, that goes with music, that goes with all those things.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, our music meant everything in that era to us, that's for sure. And getting to see them like Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, The Who, Rolling Stones, Queen, with Freddie Mercury, not with imposters.
Got to see him with Freddie Mercury. What are we talking about? Twice. Not once, but twice. Not uno, but dos.
I mean, back then too, Cleveland was really gathering steam as the rock and roll capital of the world. So they went out of their way to get every damn rock act in the world to come through here, and everybody did. That place,
To Richfield.
That place you hear your parents probably talking about, Richfield Coliseum. Everybody went there. Absolutely everybody.
And you saw Floyd there.
No, they were at the stadium.
Ah.
In 1977, started out the year seeing Queen with Thin Lizzy. May was Led Zeppelin. July was Pink Floyd doing their World Animals tour at the old Cleveland Municipal Stadium. I mean, you can't beat that. I mean, what are you going to do with that?
I mean, I'll be honest, 99% of people that tune into our programs can't compete with that. I don't even know if they try.
And concerts today.
That's why you're on Padrino, though.
The way it's so straightened out. I mean, they want to charge you $1 million, charge you $20 for a beer. The old Municipal Stadium, seeing Pink Floyd. Me and him could carry a pony keg in there, complete with the tap, and they didn't give a shit. They didn't care. They're just trying to keep people from killing each other.
Well, back in the day, they didn't.
That's true.
Back in the day, they didn't kill each other.
They were too stoned to even think about it.
Yeah, nowadays, people are hyped up on fucking fentanyl and Adderall. Oh, that's bad. That's disrespectful. I mean, I do that. See, that's how quick it gets there. No, it is crazy to see how it's changed that much over the years. I mean, this beer alone would probably be $16.
Yeah, it's all ripped
concert
off.
like that. I mean,
the way they screw you on, and all these great mega superstar bands I was talking about, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, Rolling Stones, The Who, all of them. Even Elvis, the first time I seen him, tickets were $10 a piece. $10. I mean, wow, $10 for a ticket, I mean, back then it seemed normal.
Dude, that's crazy.
In 1976, I went to the Easter Sunday Jam at Coliseum. That was Lynyrd Skynyrd, and I mean Lynyrd Skynyrd with Ronnie Van Zant. Golden Earring and the Outlaws, $7.50 on Easter.
What year again?
1976. I was still in high school.
So,
just a long-haired hippie kid in the 70s. That's what I was.
And you know what? I think that's why this is great to have you on this stuff, because it's like people want to know, who these, guests are so much. I mean, the Sleepless Amelia, they want to get to know us. And I want to actually officially end on a question, because I just thought of something, and it's the greatest question I could ask you, because we love to do Mount Rushmores. We love to do Mount Rushmores on all of these shows. So I want to close out on an official Mount Rushmore, and I'm not going to give my take. This is only an old Padrino take to close this out, because I think this is really important. I think this is going to be fun, because I think I'm not only putting you on the spot, but I'm going to hear answers that I probably wouldn't even expect. So I'm excited for this. So I'm going to put you on the spot if you don't mind.
All right.
To close us out on this episode of Brews and Reviews, Mount Rushmore, top 4 favorite concerts, go.
Oh, favorite ones? All right.
Top 4, Mount Rushmore, favorite concerts.
Can I somehow lump all 3 Elvises into one pick?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll allow that.
Elvis.
So Elvis 1. That's your Washington. That's your George Washington.
Led Zeppelin.
So Led Zeppelin's your Lincoln. I don't remember who the other 2 are. Help me.
Okay. The Who in 1975.
Okay, Who 75.
And Pink Floyd in 77.
And Pink Floyd 77. So you went Elvis, Zeppelin, Who, and the last one.
What did I just say? I said
Elvis, Zeppelin, Who,
Pink Floyd.
Pink Floyd. You know what? Remember how I said I wouldn't give 4 favorite shows?
Yeah.
I don't see another window where I'll be able to give my 4 favorite shows, so I guess I should probably do it, huh? Let's do it.
Oh, your shows?
Yeah. All right. Number 1, Jay-Z. Me and the good brother Snooka, now at the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, but at the time it was Cricket Loans Arena. I'm not gonna lie, I cried 3 times during that show. I couldn't help it. Number one, in fact, exclusive pod moment. Exclusive pod moment.
No, you still got that, huh? I used to save ticket stubs a long time ago. Hell if I know. After you move a couple times.
So Jay-Z, number one. Number two. Hold on. While I'm at it. A year before he died, at the House of Blues, me and my good brother Doug ended up front row. What's that say? DMX.
Oh, yeah, DMX.
Boom. I hope my credit card number wasn't on there. That'd be fucked up. But so Jay-Z, DMX, Ozzy third, which was with El Padrino. That was my second concert I ever went to. That was my second concert I ever been to. So Ozzy third. And then fourth, I would say Kendrick Lamar. Damn. That'd be my fourth, where he came out in the chains and did the Untitled Unmastered tracks. I thought that was absolutely incredible. So you named your Mount Rushmore. I named my Mount Rushmore on this bonus episode of Brews and Reviews. Love you guys so much. We've already given the outros, and we've given you guys even some bonus content. But on that note, El Padrino, this is that Lumar Bumps and Bruises, Brews and Reviews connection. Peace, y'all.